Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most controversial legal cases in recent years, the Kyle Rittenhouse case. It's a case that sparked intense debate across the country, touching on issues of self-defense, gun laws, and protests. From the shooting itself to the trial and final verdict, we'll be breaking down exactly what happened, the legal arguments, and what the public reaction has been. So stick around to the end, and let's unpack this together. To understand the Kyle Rittenhouse case, we need to go back to the summer of 2020. The city of Kenosha, Wisconsin, became a flashpoint for protests after the police shooting of Jacob Blake, an African-American man, which left him partially paralyzed. The protests that followed were part of the larger Black Lives Matter movement, which was sweeping across the country after the killing of George Floyd. On the nights following the shooting, the protests in Kenosha turned violent, with clashes between protesters and law enforcement, widespread looting, and property damage. Now, let's focus on the night of August 25, 2020, the night Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old from Illinois, became involved. Rittenhouse, who traveled to Kenosha that night, said he came to protect businesses and provide medical aid during the protests. He was armed with an AR-15 style rifle, which he claimed was for self-defense. Throughout the evening, tensions escalated between demonstrators, civilians claiming to defend property, and law enforcement. Around 11:45 p.m., Rittenhouse found himself in a series of violent confrontations. Let's break down the specific events that unfolded. First, Rittenhouse was pursued by a group of protesters. Among them was Joseph Rosenbaum, who threw a plastic bag at Rittenhouse and, according to witnesses, tried to grab his gun. Rittenhouse fired 4 shots, killing Rosenbaum. After the shooting, Rittenhouse fled the scene, but was followed by more protesters. As he was running, Rittenhouse tripped and fell. While on the ground, 2 men approached him. The first, Anthony Huber, struck Rittenhouse with a skateboard and tried to grab his gun. Rittenhouse fired again, killing Huber. Immediately after, Gage Grosskreutz, who was armed with a handgun, approached Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse shot him in the arm, severely injuring him. All of this happened within minutes, and soon after, Rittenhouse approached police with his hands up, but he was allowed to leave the scene without being arrested that night. Rittenhouse was later charged with multiple felonies, including first-degree intentional homicide. His defense team argued that he acted in self-defense, while the prosecution portrayed him as a vigilante who recklessly inserted himself into a volatile situation. The trial, which began in November 2021, quickly became a media spectacle. The defense argued that Rosenbaum had been acting aggressively all night and posed an imminent threat to Rittenhouse. Video evidence showed that Rosenbaum was the first to chase and lunge at Rittenhouse, which the defense argued justified the use of deadly force. As for the deaths of Anthony Huber and the shooting of Gage Grosskreutz, the defense maintained that both men also presented immediate threats. The prosecution, however, argued that Rittenhouse created the dangerous situation by being there with a rifle in the first place. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict on November 19, 2021. Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges, including homicide, attempted homicide, and recklessly endangering safety. The decision was based on Wisconsin's self-defense laws, which allow for the use of deadly force if a person reasonably believes they are at risk of death or serious harm. The verdict sparked intense reactions across the country. Supporters of Rittenhouse saw him as someone who was defending himself in a chaotic situation, while critics argued that his actions were reckless and that his acquittal sent a dangerous message. Public opinion on the case remains deeply divided. Some view Rittenhouse as a symbol of self-defense and Second Amendment rights, while others believe his acquittal highlights broader issues of race, policing, and the justice system in America. The Kyle Rittenhouse case is one that will likely be discussed for years to come. It raises important questions about gun rights, self-defense, and the role of civilians during protests. What do you think? Was justice served in this case, or does the verdict highlight deeper issues in society? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos.